When did Indigenous boarding schools begin? Have you ever wondered how education shaped the lives of Indigenous peoples in Latin America? The story of Indigenous boarding schools is a significant part of that narrative. These institutions, also known as residential schools, began to appear as early as the colonial period. Their establishment was influenced by both colonial powers and national governments, aiming to assimilate Indigenous children into the dominant culture. In Latin America, the roots of these schools can be traced back to the mid-17th century. During this time, similar institutions were being set up in other parts of the Americas, including the United States. The primary goal of these schools was to integrate Indigenous children into mainstream society. This often involved forced Christianization and the suppression of native languages and customs. For instance, in Mexico, the indigenista policies of the 20th century led to the creation of boarding schools. These schools were part of broader efforts to integrate indigenous populations. While the intention was to promote cultural assimilation and economic development, the reality was often the erasure of indigenous identities and cultures. The experience in these boarding schools was painful for many. Children were taken from their families and communities, forced to adopt a foreign culture. This represented a significant loss of cultural heritage. The legacy of these schools continues to affect Indigenous communities today. Many are working hard to reclaim and preserve their native languages and cultural practices. From a broader perspective, the history of Indigenous boarding schools serves as a reminder of the importance of cultural diversity. It highlights the need for educational systems that respect and celebrate the unique identities of Indigenous peoples. Rather than erasing these identities, education should support their preservation. Understanding when Indigenous boarding schools began helps us appreciate the ongoing struggles and resilience of Indigenous communities in Latin America. Their journey reflects a quest for identity, rights, and recognition in a world that often overlooks their rich cultural heritage.